A serious question.
Okay.
Ready?
All right.
Ready?
Yeah. Okay.
What has changed in you as a teacher since you started teaching?
Oh, wow. Since okay. Well, that was like 8 years ago or something. I have to think about it. Well, I keep mentioning that I never wanted to be a teacher. So at first, when I started teaching, it was sort of out of necessity. It was like...
Why did you decide to enter that university then?
It was a coincidence. Like, what I was always passionate about, even at school, that was languages. And I knew that I wanted to work on... I was actually studying in a school that was specialized in English, which didn't really help. But at least, there I understood, okay, I'm really passionate about English and I really wanted to learn German. So my first choice, and I literally didn't have any other choices. Like that was it, was foreign languages department. And as you know, in St. Petersburg, we only have the State University, Herzen University, and another one, which is Technical University.
What about the University of Foreign Languages?
It's not really state, right? I think it's private.
Uh-huh.
I'm not completely sure, but
okay.
I wanted to study in a state university for free.
Mm-hmm.
That was important. I'm not even sure if it's possible now, but it was possible when I was entering. And so it was just some sort of lucky events that brought me there, because I was actually serious about entering that technical university, the Department of Foreign Languages, but there. I don't know why. But actually, it happened because I knew that I was not good enough to enter the state university because there was so much competition there. But Herzen, I was like, no way. I am never becoming a teacher, so that's it. Like, I have to stay away from it. And the thing was, that was the first year with all the state exams. And they promised me that if I win the competition, this Olympiad or whatever you call it, then I get the free education. And I did win it. And I was like, okay, I can forget about the state exams. And then my state exams, except English, everything else was like pretty low. And I come there and then I'm like, okay, that's it. I don't really care about the exams. And they tell me, no, all of your exams should have had 100 points for you to get the education. I'm like, that's not what you told me 3 months ago. Right? And so they said but we can accept you on a the one that you have to pay for. And I'm like, no way. And then I was like shocked, because I was like, what am I supposed to do? Like, that's it, because I didn't even apply for anything else. And then Herzen was the only choice, because the competition was actually held by them. Mm-hmm. And they took me for free education. And I'm like, okay.
Anyway, I think it had always been in the stars. I mean, your path, and that you entered the Herzen University.
I guess, yeah. I'm actually very grateful for everything.
But yeah, let's return to the question.
Yeah.
Julia, 8 years ago as a teacher, and Julia now.
Okay, so like throughout the whole journey. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so much, to be honest with you, so much. I look back and I see so many mistakes that I made. I'm sure that I make mistakes now, but before it was so subconscious, like I didn't even think about. I was kind of like teaching, like following my guts, whatever was something inside of me telling me I was doing it. For instance, I was teaching kids not pronunciation, but like reading, with the help of reading rules, and that was like, a huge mistake. Like, it would take me like half a year just for them, and then you start like teaching them exceptions, and it's just like, why did I spend so much time learning the rules?
I think every young teacher should go through this to understand why it's not working.
But poor children, I was torturing them with that. I was definitely not that passionate at that moment. I was always like sort of trying to implement this communicative approach, which I'm not that big a fan of. Like, it has to be present, but it's still a combination. But I think it's just my teaching was very random. It wasn't structured at all. Like, it was just, okay, today I feel like doing this, let's do it. So I didn't really follow any steps so you can reach some sort of result. It was just random choice.
So you were less consistent.
Absolutely, not even consistent. It was just very messy and hectic. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and then I didn't know, to be honest with you, the university didn't give me anything with regards to teaching.
Really?
Like, yeah, it maybe improved my knowledge of the language, but yeah, I came out was like a complete newbie because all the teaching disciplines, they were useless.
But you did have to do some practice classes.
Yes, that was amazing. That was the only thing that gave me a little bit more confidence. Like, yeah, practical classes. But that was like 2 months, I think, even less, a month and a half. And that's it. And I enjoyed it so much. That was maybe my
Were
first
you
time.
observed?
Yeah, I think so. But I wasn't observed by a teacher who I respected. You know, she was, I didn't really like her attitude. So I guess I listened to her feedback, but I don't know. It's very difficult for me to listen to the feedback of a person who I'm like...
May I tell you about my first observed lesson?
Of course, yeah.
Just 1 second.
Was it back at university or?
I studied at the part-time department, and I knew that we would be having some practice, so I applied for a job at school. But I thought that I would get 5 or 6 hours. They gave me 18. And groups that nobody wanted to teach.
Because they were like, what? Naughty?
They were naughty. They were 9th graders who knew that they would be leaving the school. And they
didn't care much.
Took no responsibility at all. I remember having a group where there were 14 boys and 1 girl.
Oh, that's a dream. I love those.
A dream.
No?
You know, it was letter G. I mean, if you A, B, C.
Oh, okay. All right. So the trouble ones.
The trouble ones. And I was given the worst half of the group because the best half of the group went to an English teacher who came to the school at the same time. And so she was receiving the cream of the classes. Everything else was given to me.
So they trusted you with it?
They thought I would survive because she quit after the first term. I stayed for 10 years.
Wow, 10 years?
Yes, I taught at Lomonosovskaya Gymnasium, Lyceum for 10 years, and I really liked the experience. But at first it was really tough. So my first lesson that was observed, I was doing my best. I was reading different methodology books, and I was planning my class and everything. And I had a very good teacher who observed me. Very good methodologist, and she was constantly writing. You know, they usually do like this: pluses, minuses, then some suggestions. So when after the lesson, when it was over, I think I became 5 kilos less because I was working out so much. And, I was anxious. Yes, I was very responsible then. No, as well, but but now I'm a little bit more laid back during my classes, actually. So she came, I came up to her, we sat down, and she started with pluses as a very good observer. She said, literally, Леночка, ты очень хорошая девочка.
Oh my goodness, this is
That was all.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah, the other side were minuses.
Are you serious?
Yes.
No.
Yes. Because, I was trying to do my best so much that I put so much to the students and they obviously could not cope up with that.
Oh, so you overdid it.
I overdid it and I was so, I was so stressed, I was so nervous that it was sin. And it was contagious, and the group, which usually was much more relaxed, it was behaving in a very strange way. So it was me separately, them separately, the lesson separately. What my aims were, what results I wanted to get in the end. Everything got into a mess.
Oh.
No, I'm not doing this.
But was she gentle when she was doing it?
She was.
Okay.
Yeah, because she understood that I was trying. That I was trying to do my best.
You're a good girl.
Yeah, a lot has changed since that.
So it was very useful feedback. Yeah?
I got so much feedback since then. In our school, it was, like that. The lesson has started, 10 minutes is going, then the door just gets open. Some administration person comes in and says, Леночка, я посижу у тебя. Without any warning or anything. So when I got to Celta and they told me, every lesson is going to be observed, I said, piece of cake. Yeah, I've gone through all that.
That helps though a lot, I think, because you don't get stressed anymore.
Let's get back to you.
Yeah, but that's a very interesting experience. You're lucky, I guess, because I think it's very important that you have a mentor, at the very beginning. When you
Yes, I did have a mentor. She was quite helpful to me.
You see? So, your mentor can help you, or maybe it can, I don't know, be very
But you
confusing. I would say that most of the things that I know about teaching, not about the language, but about teaching, it actually came from, let's say, like 3 last places of my work. Yeah, like for instance, here I worked for, I don't know if you've heard, like Q Consultancy. It's like a school that teaches business English, and we actually had like 3 months or something of training. And it was very helpful. It was only focused on adults, but it helped me so much to understand the process, how those...
Was it on the job training, or did you have training and after that you started working?
I think we had like a month of like initial training when we were not allowed to teach, and then we still continued studying and teaching at the same. We juggled it. Yeah, that was very helpful. And then in China, we also had so many different trainings, and TEFL didn't help at all. That's why I'm very hesitant, about actually joining CELTA. And then in Vietnam also, we had lots of different trainings, which were not just connected to teaching, but like psychology, for instance, and stuff like that. So
that's very important.
Yeah. So I learned from like my employers, from my colleagues a lot, from observing them, from them observing me, from learning from my own mistakes. Yeah, not from university, unfortunately.
I have changed my opinion about observation, because actually, even if you come to a class and you see a very good lesson, a very beautiful one, everything is in concord, you are together with the students, you are striving towards some important aim, one lesson is never enough. Because you cannot see the long-term goals and continuous progress of your students.
Absolutely, yeah. And you can also, for example, if that person knew that you were coming, they had prepared, and it's not really true.
Did you have demonstrative classes when you were studying at school?
Yeah, I guess so. You mean like some sort of governmental figures coming, or?
No, not necessarily governmental, but when the teacher told you that some class is going to be an open one, and there will be guests, and they will be observing.
But what kind of guests? Like what?
Administration, methodology.
Yeah, I guess so, but it was usually very messy, and they were observing the teacher. Yeah, also.
Yes, the teacher.
Yeah.
But in my school, I was studying in a school with an intense course of English, and demonstrative lessons were like this: 2 weeks in advance. We were given pieces of paper with the text that we were to learn.
This is so
we were not allowed to improvise or to say something of our own during the actual class. So it was like, tough training before some kind of march across the square. Just nothing natural.
It just says a lot about the teacher, and their methods, and the fact that they realize themselves that they haven't really achieved anything, and there is no connection or bond, because I feel like when I was observed by somebody, higher, I would always talk to students and say, hey, you guys, this is an important class, please behave. And if you have this connection to students, then they will understand you and they will support you regardless of, being prepared for it or not. But I guess they just were afraid that you start, I don't know, talking to each other, misbehaving, or just saying some nonsense.
What I learned when I was observed at school? I learned that any commission, any just a group of people that comes to you, give them the same stuff that you give to your students to do. Let them work.
Yeah.
Let them understand what students are going through, what kind of skills they're acquiring, and everything. Keep them busy.
True.
Yeah, then you will
involved.
Get better. Yeah. You guys, if you are to conduct some classes, But do not overload them, because if they don't have very high level of the language, it won't do you good.
But they should. Like, what are they observing then? Like, if they don't understand what you're talking about.
They are just sometimes they are of high authority than you are. It doesn't mean that they know the language better than the teacher.
Okay, then it doesn't really make sense, to observe the classes. It's just like, I don't know, some sort of policy, because I was always observed, at least in China and Vietnam, by either co-teachers or like my managers who used to be teachers before, so they know what they're talking about.
This is what you will get at CELTA. A lot of very good observation, both from the tutors and your peers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's really valuable, because you have what you have to do there. You conduct a class, and then you give feedback to yourself just immediately while you're going home, and you write it down, and then you present it to your tutor. And after the lesson in the morning, first, all the guys, they talk to you. They say, these were the pluses of your class. These were the minuses. This is, I think, that you can do better. And only after that, the tutor gives you feedback. So in this case, CELTA is an invaluable experience.
It's always like teamwork.
Yes.
And you also get to observe a lot of classes.
Yeah.
That's great.
A lot of classes, a lot of teachers, and this is really great.
Because when I was observing classes of teachers in Vietnam, I felt like, yes, maybe it was beneficial for them because of my feedback, but it was extremely beneficial for me, not just in terms of like catching, some sort of tricks or maybe like adopting their methodology or anything like that, but also like by seeing what kind of mistakes they make or how they behave, and I'm like, okay, this is what I should stop doing, for instance, because it doesn't look that well, or because it's not very beneficial. So it's very extremely beneficial.
Yes, sometimes you really do recognize yourself. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
it might have been me.
Yes, yeah, and then you're like more maybe, I don't know, conscious or aware of your own behavior.
Yeah,
absolutely.